Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly trading plan webinar. And special welcome, of course, goes to new people. And what we do here is actually simple. We are creating the plan for the week. And as I always say, some traders like to say that you trade, and then you trade your plan. This way, we get more organized and less spontaneous, and hopefully will bring some better results. Few things about myself. This is me, Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I started to trade in June of 2000 when the bubble burst, and since then I'm very excited about the markets. I did prop trading for about 11 years, and then I moved away from it and started to mentor and educate other traders. And currently I'm very happy. I have a great opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. Now, the agenda of the webinar is pretty much the same. We talk about indices, stocks, commodities, forex. Before that, we talk a little bit about what's happening in the big picture. We talk about things coming out in economic calendar. We'll get there at the moment. And here's the risk warning. Everything we do here is purely educational. You can find a full statement at avatrade.com. And these are the channels that I highly recommend to you to visit and subscribe to. You have Telegram, you have Twitter, and my favorite, as I always say, it's a YouTube channel. You have a lot of information there. You have tutorials, you have educational posting there. You have webinars. If you ever missed a live webinar, you can always find it there. It's being recorded and posted, so it's available for you at any time. And let's start. Before we get into the economic calendar, just we did finish the summer. Friday was, I guess, the slowest day ever, even though we managed to make some moves. And we entering September. So just before I forget, Monday there's no trading in US, so it will be market will be a little bit weird without that. It's Labor Day. It's kind of less opportunity for Americans to do barbecues and enjoy a long weekend. And we're back full force into trading this week. So few things we have coming out, but before I get into it, just important to mention, especially for new people, this is economic calendar. You can find it on our web trader or on the app. Also, you can find it any providers of economic calendar. You can just Google it. What I do here is I take out only high impact events. Otherwise, it would take a lot of space, and then you can filter it, whatever is relevant to your trading, what you trade, what countries, and so on. But as I said, I take out high impact events here. And some people ask, is it important to follow? It's totally up to you, but I think whether you use the announcements or try to analyze it or not, I think if you are actively trading, it's important to know that certain things are coming out at certain times. So you won't get caught by surprise. You won't get panicky or excited or whatever the outcome might be. So these are the things coming out. Now, right here, I put the GMT times, so you can change it. You can filter it, like I said, to your convenience. So Monday, we have GDP numbers from Switzerland. We have a president of ECB speaking on Monday as well. So as we know, it's affecting euro, of course, and European indices as well. Tuesday, we have a PMI number from China. As we know, as we discussed many times, China is not doing that great overall. And I think the most issues they're having with real estate developments and stuff. We have from Australia interest rate decision and the statement. That's also on Tuesday. Wednesday, GDP numbers from Australia, retail sales from Europe, PMI or service PMI from US, and we have interest rate decision from Canada. Definitely we'll be watching the Canadian dollar. responding to that. And we also have Governor of Bank of Australia speaking on Wednesday. Thursday, we have trade balance from Australia, very important, definitely sensitive to the local currency, to the Australian dollar. We have a monetary policy report from Bank of England. That's on Thursday. GDP numbers from European Union. Governor of Bank of Canada speaking, I guess, following the decision. That's also on Thursday. And GDP numbers from Japan on Thursday as well. Friday, CPI numbers from Germany, employment data from Canada, and CPI numbers from China. It looks like it's Saturday. Okay, so these are the things coming out. Again, like I said, economic calendar. Even if you knew exactly ahead of time what the numbers are, it's not really easy to predict what the market will be doing, especially these days when things are sometimes upside down. Okay, so as you know, I like to post pictures sometimes. This is from marketwatch.com. A nice article, you can read it. It says right here, stormy September for U.S. stocks may lie ahead. What investors need to know about Wall Street worst month. So I went through the article. You can read it. You can find it easily. And it talks about September statistically or historically being a negative month for the equity markets. So let's see how this September will play out. So this is for the article. Now, also, I wanted to show you the VIX this week as the market made a move up. We'll be discussing in a moment. VIX went down again. This is some call it fear instrument or indicator. Basically, what's happening with the market go up, the VIX are going down, and vice versa. So we went down from the 25th of August. We were above 17, we went to almost 13, and this was the low level at around 1275. So let's see if we're continuing now. Normally, when we hit the lows, the market turns around and sells. Again, these days, nothing works perfectly. As you know, for a long time now, the market's been reacting to the news, sometimes in an upside down way, as the bad news would mean that the Feds would be not so aggressive in raising the rates, which would be in return good for the market. So it's really, really confusing, and it's been for a very long time when we have things upside down. So I hope one day we'll come to the conditions when the bad news on the market or bad news on individual companies or any kind of economic data means bad for the market, or good news means good for the market, and not just filtering through the actions or potential actions of the Feds, because it's getting really, really confusing, and I'm sure you're experiencing that. So in any event, we had some data on Friday. We had NFP numbers, and NFP numbers came a little bit higher than expected, but what really injected the positive thing in a way, something in the average hourly earnings that went down a little bit, and also unemployment rate went up from 3.5 to 3.8. So it looks like if you see the CME FedWatch tool, it went up to 80% odds that the Feds will hold at the next meeting and not increase the rates. So it was it went up from 62.9% the week before and so on. So it looks like, based on the last data, or round of data, it looks like the Feds will not increase the rates in the upcoming meeting. So market reacted in a positive way. So let's move into the markets now and try to make sense of what's happening. So for the week, Dow Jones actually made a nice week. We were up 0.3% on Friday and finished the week up 1.4%. S&P 500 rose 0.2% on Friday. Now, if you see here, these are the futures. I'm talking about the index itself. So these are the numbers that I took from the sources. And for the week, S&P 500 index rose 2.5%. And according to the source, it says the best week since June 16th. Nasdaq didn't have such a good Friday. It pretty much was flat on Friday, but still managed to have a gain of 3.2% for the week, as you could see, and is the second consecutive week to the upside, and is the best week since July 14th. So, like I said, we're having a long weekend. The volume on Friday was record low. So I think we're getting back to normal trading on Tuesday. Monday will be what traders call probably a choppy market. There's no US market open. So it's going to be European, Asian, and so on. Now let's before we go to individual stocks, let's take a look at our usual suspects. China is trying to climb here. Like I said, China is experiencing a lot of issues economically. Friday was a positive day for China, went up. As you know, when I mention China, I bring up four assets. That's oil, copper, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. So let's take a look quickly at them. Copper had a nice move, but then it retraced to the downside. Oil had an unbelievable day, and the whole week. I think we are at the highs of the year on oil. We'll discuss it in a moment. And Australian and New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look. Australian dollar sold because of the strength of US dollar, and New Zealand dollar sold as well. So that's as far as China. Let's see if this attempt is sustainable. If we continue, just to remind you here, this was a positive day when China injected some stimulus, and then it sold on the same day, and now we're trying to climb back up. Now let's take a quick look at the European markets. DAX sold on Friday, but overall had a positive week. We are fighting with 16,000 level there. FTSE UK 100 also second consecutive positive week. The Friday was positive too. It's gaining some momentum to the upside. So let's move to individual stocks, and I just want to bring the MT5 with NVIDIA. Take a look at NVIDIA, right? This was the move on the 24th when they just crashed the estimation. Huge earnings, amazing results. Stock gapped up 502. Actually, in extended hours after the announcement, it hit 520. But when it opened, the high was around 502, but then we sold. And then the whole week we tried to reach that level, and Friday was sold again. So definitely we should be watching NVIDIA as a stock that really moved the Nasdaq. Overall, the stock is huge, and just to remind you, it's all about artificial intelligence. They provide hardware and other things for this booming move on the AIs. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the NVIDIA stock. Intel actually is doing great. As you could see here, Intel, as you know, most of the computers, I don't know if it's correct, most of them, but a lot, let's say a lot of computers are carrying the Intel chips inside. And Intel has been having a little bit of a hard time. And lately it's gaining some strength at a very good week. And take a look, we're trying to challenge this level again over here. It's a third attempt to break through this level. I was looking into some fundamentals. It looks like they had a nice presentation for Deutsche Bank this past week. Also, they are looking to invest $1.2 billion in Costa Rica. I don't know what that means in details, but it looks like Intel is gaining some strength over here. Definitely will be watching for continuation. Apple stock, as you know, I'm watching an Apple stock as a leader. It's the first $3 trillion company. I don't know if we're back to that title. We were at these levels when we challenged almost 200. We were at the high of 198, 19th of July. Then we had rejected the 196. We sold with the market, and now we're slowly climbing back, maybe trying to close the gap. This gap, I think, was due to the earning report and not such a great news on the iPhone sales. So we are slowly climbing there. Let's see if we close the gap. And in general, of course, we'll be seeing what the market is doing. Tesla. Tesla is getting closer to that magic 240 level. We had support and we faced resistance. We broke through it. We tested the 50 moving average. Now, some investors are not happy with these price cuts. They're not really concerned. They are concerned, actually, that these cuts wouldn't really help. This one of the things that are affecting the stock. Let's see if we are holding 240, and if we are, and if the market is really positive in the upcoming week, we might bounce of it. If not, if we do break 240, maybe we'll go and challenge the recent lows, and this was the 18th of August, the low of 212. So that's as far as Tesla. Disney stock is experiencing a lot of pressure. We've been talking a few times about it. The new CEO came, the stock went up, then CFO left, then issues with streaming business and other things. On the strong market, Disney is not really moving anywhere. So it's important to notice when the market, if the market turns red or into a strong sell mode, some traders are going to be shopping for the weak stocks to short. So this is something to pay attention. Disney has been super weak lately. And let's take a look at Teva Pharmaceutical. We've been talking about the stock. Take a look. It's been slowly stepping up from, we start talking about it around 720, 730. Nice with few corrections. We are stepping higher. We're testing the 10. And if you zoom out on a monthly chart, it looks very interesting here. The stock, just to show you, in 2015, the price was around $71, $72, and we're trading at $10. And it's a good company. They are producing generic drugs. And take a look, 3 consecutive months to the upside. And if you remember, we start talking about it when I said that it's been zigzagging between $7 and $11. So we spoke about it around here. That has the potential to go and repeat that move slowly. It's been working, and it looks very nice. Take a look, a nice, healthy profit taking, and we are really challenging this $9.90, $10 level. Let's see if we break it. So that's as far as Teva Pharmaceuticals. Okay, let's move to, or before we move, actually, I want to bring up the banking sector. They're still having issues. Take a look. Bank of America, after this sell-off, we are really not seeing any strength here. Bank of America, Goldman, it had a little bit of a bounce. JP Morgan, the leader of the group, is not really bouncing. So it doesn't look so good. It doesn't look so promising for the banking sector. Just to remind you, recently, some banks, regional banks and other small banks were downgraded by a few rating agencies. And of course, the big banks got affected as well. So we'll continue watching the banks or the bank sector and see what's happening going forward. Okay, let's go to commodities. We go to oil. And as I mentioned, oil made a new high on the year. We reached the level of November 16th of last year. And the main reason it's all about supply, and the big concern that the OPEC group will continue restricting supplies, and we are entering into fall and the winter is coming. So it looks like I mean, nothing changes. It was all about supply because demand is not that huge, especially considering issues with China. But on the supply side, it looks like the investors are concerned that pretty much we'll have a shortage of oil. So we closed on 86, and let's see what's next. We close at the high of the week. So that's on crude oil. Copper, as we mentioned, had a bounce, and then it came back in, closing at 384. And it looks like this 369 on the weekly chart is holding, and we are right on the 50-week moving average here, second consecutive week to the upside. And we did reject Friday high of 390. So on the upside, we want to see that 390 being challenged. And I guess on the downside, the same day's low could be an indication. Are we holding it in the upcoming days or not? And of course, we'll be watching what China is doing. So that's copper. Gold went down on the strength of $1. Initially, it moved up, but was sitting right on 200 moving average here. Just to remind you, we are still experiencing that dead cross when the 50 moving average is below the 200. And let's see what gold brings. Of course, it will be depending a lot on US dollar. We'll get there in a moment. So that's as far as gold. Let's take a look at natural gas. We talk about it every week. And natural gas is trading about the 260 level that we mentioned many times. The recent attempt the beginning of August was to challenge the 3 mark, and we closed at 275. So let's see, maybe concern about the oil, because the natural gas is being affected by the price of oil, or at least psychologically. So maybe this recent run in oil will push natural gas higher as well. But in any event, if that happens, we'll be challenging the $3 mark again. And the 260 remains a support for now. So that's as far as natural gas. And let's take a quick look at soft commodities, wheat and corn. After this recent sell-off, we are having this consolidation here. between 586 and 620 level roughly. After sell-off, there's a build-up. Again, the war in Ukraine continues. Unfortunately, the issues with shipping the grains is still there. Let's see how this week will be for wheat. Here's the corn, similar idea. We are in the channel between 473 and 497. We did gap here. I think this was the new contract, and we are within the channel. So again, the soft commodities are still weak. They are consolidating, and it could be accumulation for the bounce up. It could be also the opposite, continuation to the downside. But we are at the levels that had the strong support all the way back to 2020. So let's see how this week plays for soft commodities. Now let's move to Forex. We start with dollar index. At the strong 2 days, we are challenging 104 level that we mentioned many times. We had a major sell-off after fighting this level for a while. Then with the low back in mid-July at 99.20, and we really had a solid move to the upside. We had some action around 3, the previous resistance. We broke through it. Then we confirmed the support this week again, and we are challenging 104. So let's see how this week will play for dollar. We are above all the averages, and of course, all the majors are selling against the dollar. Euro is having a hard time. We close at 107.72, and the recent support was at 107.65. That was on 25th of August. Let's see if this level holds. Pound, same thing. It is selling, not as strong as euro. I mean, the sell-off is not as strong, so it looks stronger than euro, definitely. And the low here that we had on the same day, on the 25th of August, was 125.47. Let's see if this level holds. Also, dollar is slowly stepping up against the Swiss franc. Swiss franc is starting to show some weakness. If you remember, weeks in a row, we spoke about Swiss franc being the strongest against all the currencies. So slowly we're coming out of this negative cycle on dollar Swiss. And let's see if we break this level from 25th of August. The high here was 0.8875. And if we are, we might be opening space for the next checkpoint, which would be around 0.8995, 0.90, and that would be getting closer to 200 moving average. So that's on dollar Swiss, very important to watch. Now, the pair that we mentioned a few times, the Hungarian forint. If you remember, I first started to talk about it. It's all about geopolitics and fundamentals when I mentioned weeks back that the government of Hungary is kind of a pro-Russian and trying to block the help or benefits to Ukraine. And they've been threatened by European Union that they might not receive benefits if they continue that policy. So I spoke about it right here. We had a nice move, actually, even before the move, then return, and then high. A lot of consolidation here. We could be building up for a nice move to the upside. Again, it's depending, of course, on what the dollars be doing next. USD ZAR. USD ZAR had a nice support on the 50 moving average around 1850, and we are slowly stepping up. We had a double top here first beginning of July and then mid of August. Let's see if we go to challenge that number again, 1915. As of now, we know that around 1850 area is a support, and it's holding the 50-day moving average. All right, and two more currency pairs that we mentioned: Euro, Swedish krona. As of now, we are holding this resistance here, something to watch. And USD, SEK, we broke through it, came back, but on the strength of a dollar, we came right back again. So let's see if we challenge this level here at 1109, the previous high. Okay, so we established that on Forex we have a strength of a dollar, continues. It could be because of the strength of oil. It could be easily. Because logically speaking, if I'm just trying to explain to myself. So we mentioned in the beginning of the webinar that the Fed should be cooling down with their interest rate increase because of the latest data. So that means no increase, that the dollar should cool down, but is actually reacted to the upside. That's what I'm saying. It's so confusing these days. It's very hard to find the logical explanation for things. But on the major move up on the crude oil, maybe that what is moving the US dollar higher. Let's see, we'll figure it out. Okay, so that's as far as Forex. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. We had interesting development this past week. We had a move up on the 29th. And it just news came in that ETF, Bitcoin-based ETF is out, and then it was a correction. It wasn't out, but it was kind of the permission was released, so they are working on that ETF. So initially, the market moved up. It really had a nice move from 26,000 all the way to 28. And guess what? We're trading below 26 now. So I guess that excitement wasn't really long lasting. And we did bounce off 200 moving average. So I definitely will be watching for new fundamentals or new development as far as that ETF goes. Okay. So we spoke about a few things. Let's just summarize it. We have, first of all, Monday, the US market is closed. And we had a positive week last week for all the major indices. We had data that is showing that Feds might have another pause on interest rate in the upcoming meeting. And this week starts September, which is statistically not a positive month for the equity markets. So let's see if this month keeps the statistics or goes against it. I want to wish everyone a great weekend. Get some energy. We're starting a great week, the first week of fall. And I hope that you'll have a successful and positive week. All the best, and we should be back next week. All the best. Take care.